On page 35, we are going to be factoring some common terms. This is building on the skills that we learned back in Foundations. So this will be somewhat of a review, but not completely. So I used another one of these anchor pieces just to help you think through this process. Sorry. This time, though, we are not multiplying, we are dividing. We're factoring out common terms. So the way this works, you will have usually a second degree expression, but it can be anything. It can have any degrees. And we'll look at some more in just a minute. But we want to know what the common term or terms are for each term in this trinomial. So the first thing we need to do is look at the terms. We need to figure out what all of the terms have in common. So here is the first term, and I'm just going to bring it down here so that I have some room to work. I have 25a squared, and let's color code that so we've got it right there. So if you list the factors of 25, we have 1 and 25. We have 5 and 5. And we have A and A. We have 2 of them. Okay, then we have the next term, which is a positive 15a. So let's bring it down here. And let me color code. So we have 1 and 15. We have 3 and 5. And this time we just have a to the first power. Then in the last one we have a positive 5. And I'll color code. And all we have here, this is a prime number, 1 and 5, and there are no variables. So we look at all the terms and we ask ourselves, what do all of the terms have in common? Well, they all have a 5, and that's all. There's nothing else that's common except the 1, but we don't count that. That's common across all the terms. So they all have, let's go ahead and count the 1. I don't like saying just ignore it, so let's just go ahead and put the 1 in there. Won't change anything, and maybe that's a better way to do this. So they have a 1 and a 5. We multiply those, so the common factor is 5. So then we divide the first term by the common factor. So we have 25a squared, and we're going to divide that by 5. 5 into 25 is 5 times, and we have to carry that a squared. Then we divide the second term by the common factor. So we have positive 15a divided by 5, and we have 5 into 15 is 3, and we're carrying that a. And then the last term we have 5 divided by itself, and that is going to give us a positive 1. So the factored expression, now be careful here, it's very easy to make a mistake right here. We want these pieces, the divided pieces. So we have 3a, actually we have 5a squared, plus the 3a plus the 1. But don't forget about the common factor. So we're going to have to put parentheses because the common factor goes with all 3 of those. And I'm just going to put that common factor out in the front. So the factored expression is all of that. Okay, let's look at another example. I want us to factor 12m cubed plus 6m squared plus 24m plus m. So remember, this tells us what to do. We look at all the factors. The terms. So we have 12m to the third. So let's break it down. And I think I would rather go this way with it because that's what I've shown you to do. Let me think a minute. I think we need to take it all the way to prime. With that, let me think just a second. No, let's just follow what we've done. Doesn't have to go to prime. Okay, so we have 1 and 12. We have 2 and 6. And we have 3 and 4. And then we have 1m, 2m, 3m's. And I still like to put my composite in a box because that helps my eye just a little bit. Then we have a positive 6m squared. So we have 1 and 6, 2 and 3, m and m. And then we have the 24m. That's the composite. So we have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, and then an m. And then finally out here we have the m, which does have the factors 1 and m. Everything has a factor of 1. So we need to find the common pieces. And everything has a factor of 1, so we know that one's common. It doesn't help us much, but it's there. And then we have an m, an m, an m, and an m. And that's all that we have in common. So the common factor is 1 times m, which is m. And then we need to divide all of our terms. So we're going to say 12m to the third divided by an m. So this is going to be 12m to the second. Then we have 6m squared divided by m. That's going to be 6m to the first. Then we have 24m divided by m. So the m's cancel, leaving you with just 24. And then out here we have m divided by m, and that would be just a 1. So the factored expression looks like this. But don't forget that we have to bring our common factor down here. So this fella that we pulled out as a common factor has to multiply by the whole thing. There was not one of these on the practice test, so I would not sweat this one too much. There's factoring, but there wasn't one of these algebraic expressions to factor. So it's a good review of factoring, but I would not lose sleep on this one for the practice test.